Terraria is simply way too fun to play. The bosses are too well balanced, the enemies too enjoyable to fight. So I fixed it. First by putting it in master mode, then by adding a single mod that cranks up the difficulty to unreasonable levels by giving each and every monster, critter, and boss at least 2 random modifiers, like dropping boulders, being positively massive, sucking in projectiles, or duplicating every time they get hit. But that still sounds way too fun, so I also played in medium core. This challenge was probably the worst mistake of my life, so enjoy. I enter my new world, and before I can do anything, the chaos has already begun. First, it's just a super tiny bird, then a teleporting bird, then a heckin' chonker explosive bird. Okay. I keep the deforestation going until I discover one of my favorite modifiers, atomized. I kill the little guy with my pickaxe since my sword literally doesn't have the reach, so make a new wooden one that should have a better range of motion. Too bad it doesn't stop me from killing what is known as a trapped monster. At least we know what trapped means now. Same with explosive. I attempt to explore the nearby desert, but don't make it very far, dropping all of my items a ways away from spawn. Thankfully, I experience 0 consequences for my actions and get all my things back on the first try. Surely that won't change, right? A few pieces of cactus later, and I find the tiniest widow bunny ever, followed by the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. I barely survived the attack just to be killed moments later by a chaotic, aka teleporting, green slime. I again managed to secure my items first try, and thank goodness, because it sounds like it would be kind of annoying to die before getting my stuff back. Well, I guess it's a good thing that one ever happened, eh? I run into a black hole vulture while continuing my exploration, but it doesn't seem to have an actual effect on anything, so I press on unperturbed. I've only been playing for around 12 minutes at this point, and I have already died 4 times. Never mind, 5 times. I begin the trek to get my gear back when the unimaginable happens. I respawn shocked by my misfortune, and this is unacceptable. This is... What? What was that? The guide comes in clutch, killing that beast, but he unfortunately can't stop the arrival of night, which has officially arrived. I give getting my items back one last shot, and guess what happens? A, I get blown up by an explosive zombie. B, a massive demon eye does me in. C, I get my stuff back and live happily ever after. Or D, a half-invisible zombie falls from the stratosphere going Mach 10 just to jump back into it going even faster. What is my life? How is that an actual thing I just saw? Please God help me, I want to go home. And the correct answer is B. Just kidding, I want my mommy. What is that? What is that? I frantically box myself in with the guide and decide that really the bravest thing someone can do is be a coward. Just a little life lesson for you guys. I open up a few spots to hopefully whittle away at the zombies, but of course, nothing is that easy. Please tell me that can't fit through 1 block holes. It can. It very much can. This guy is a moron. I wait out the rest of the night fully encased in safety, and when dawn breaks, decide it would be simply too much of a hassle to get my items back, and instead enter the depths. A super friendly worm I named Tim helps guide me to nearby caves and ore, as well as just keep me company while I mine. No! That slime just killed our worm friend. Despite the truly heart-crushing tragedy I just witnessed, I push forward because that's what Tim would have wanted. I'll never forget you, buddy. I end up dying to the most disgusting giant worm I have ever seen, but it turns out to be a blessing as when I respawn, I'm able to grab a nearby Abigail's flower, awakening me to the endless benefits playing as a summoner would provide, like hiding in safety while Abigail does all the killing for me. Or that exact same thing just in different situations. So summoner it is. I get my things back, find a magic mirror, and encounter the bane of my existence, splitting enemies. Splitting is a modifier that makes its monster duplicate every time it takes damage, which is far from ideal when your main weapon only does 3 to 6 damage per hit, meaning that the average blue slime would split into 15 more before finally dying. Fearing for my life, I attempt to just ignore the madness unfolding outside. Okay, it's fine. I'm in a box. Let's just continue on like nothing is happening outside. Well, I guess even safety isn't safe anymore. Slimes are clipping inside, explosions are randomly exploding, and I'm just there, hoping and praying for even a smidgen of peace. I managed to forge myself a proper weapon, and slowly but surely, the absolute chaos outside begins to halt. I finish off the stragglers, leaving me with 4 slime banners. I'm less than an hour in, and I have already killed 200 slimes. Dear God, how are things already this terrible? To hopefully prevent all the clipping that was going on, I add a second outer wall to the home base, as well as build a few NPC houses, allowing the merchant to move in, allowing me to buy a piggy bank, allowing me to put any backup supplies in it for when I die. And speaking of supplies, I randomly remember all of my loot collecting sand in the desert, so grab it and return to the mines. Pretty much 50% of the time I spend underground is me just spacing off while Abigail deals with all the monsters. So thank goodness she is by my side, because life would be misery if she, I don't know, just left for say 45 minutes for seemingly no reason, leaving me completely defenseless and alone. Gosh dang it. The mines are grueling without Abigail's help. What is that? What am I supposed to do against that thing? Where is Abigail? I find a few life crystals, snag a pair of Hermes boots, mine some platinum, and where is Abigail? Can she please come back? She doesn't, but I do figure out where she might have gone. And it has everything to do with the unassuming black hole monster's abilities. Creatures that are black holes suck in all projectiles, no matter the distance or type. Which is actually really nice. It isn't, and I very quickly realize it. Do you think that maybe what happened to Abigail is she counts as like a projectile, so she got sucked in by a black hole? And then just never came back? Do you think that's what happened to Abigail? She got sucked into a black hole? Man, that would suck for her, dude. No, it would suck for me. I find a few more goodies and head home where I can finally be reunited with Abigail. Yay, Abigail's back. Hey, Abigail? 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 What, dude, where are you going? Abigail, man, what was that? As well as get my black hole theory confirmed, meaning that for the rest of my time in this world, my main weapon can be completely disabled by a single enemy or critter. I craft myself a ruby hook and silver bow, as well as pick up a backup Abby in case my current one decides to run away again. Back underground, my entire mood starts to change as I begin seeing the true inescapable doom I have willingly plunged myself into. Black holes completely ruin any ranged attacks, random creatures have the ability to one-shot me with boulders, and splitting enemies. Splitting enemies are far worse than I could have possibly imagined. A fact shown to me by the following tale. While casually mining, I begin to notice an unusual amount of undead miners popping up. No big deal, I keep going. What is happening down there? As I get closer, more and more undead miners are revealed. And I think past RQ summed it up best. I pretty much don't even have any words for what I'm looking at right now. Never mind. I keep making my way over to the death cave and realize the error of my ways. The mod I was using has a setting called insanity mode, and this time past me really did say it best. Should splitting enemies spawn other splitting enemies? And I was like, yeah, that can't be that bad, right? I think we're witnessing the that bad. I make it to the cave, and within seconds of my arrival, madness erupts. That could have been really bad, actually. Ah! Whoa! Whoa! So, yeah, there were literally over 300 undead miners in that one tiny cave. I thankfully make it back first try, and my inventory gets filled to the brim with loads of, quite frankly, useless loot. But with arms full of shirts, pants, picks, and steak, I mirror home, craft a bed, and take a much-needed and well-deserved break. Rested and rejuvenated, I wrote my way up to where I suspect a Sky Island might be, and booyah, baby, I am a genius. It has a lucky horseshoe in it, allowing me to simply hop down and continue the hunt for health. I die around 1,000 times or so along the way, but I'm well rewarded for my efforts. I come back to the surface at nearly full hearts and begin construction on an Eye of Cthulhu / King Slime arena, otherwise known as a single platform mere blocks off the ground. I forge myself a pair of platinum leggings and summon the first boss of the challenge, the Eye of Cthulhu, who is unfortunately massive and poisonous. That is a pretty bad combination. Or so I thought at the time. The fight is honestly pretty rough, but mostly thanks to all the servants. Each of them is also random, making the fight a complete disaster. I die not even remotely close to victory. This is gonna suck. Way more than I thought it was. Tell me about it. If you couldn't already tell, I did basically zero testing before hitting record, so this was the first time I really considered how difficult the bosses might be. Thankfully, I get my stuff back first try, kind of, and start expanding the platform into an actual arena. The day arrives bringing with it a gelatinous downpour. I already know today's gonna be a mess, so don't even risk going outside. Surprisingly enough, nothing, quote, too crazy happens, and in no time at all, the bulwark, chunky, and blinding King Slime has awoken. An actually decent set of modifiers. But just like with the eye, the real challenge comes from all the minions the king summons, turning what is normally an altogether anticlimactic fight into a fight to survive the random and unpredictable. This is one of, if not the only fight throughout the entire challenge that felt actually fair. And after an incredible duel, I prove myself the victor and the King Slime is defeated. Yes! Whew! What a fight. That took forever. I grab the king's gloopy remains and, proud as ever, place the first relic of the challenge, not sure in the slightest if I will ever get another. I take a quick break to aww at a tiny squirrel, then start building a few pylons for easy item recovery. The zoologist moves into one of the houses, letting me buy the leather whip. But of course, there's a caveat. Is that longer than normal? I like the... No! You're kidding. No. The whips get sucked towards black hole enemies too. Not only do black hole creatures disable all of my ranged weapons, but my whip as well. Existence is pain. I finish up the pylon network, die a couple of times, and summon the eye once again. It's unfortunately chunky and wither, so I die very early on in the fight, but since bosses are pretty much pure RNG, I give it another go that night. Oh, it's growing. Oh, it's growing. Meaning that every single time it gets hit, it'll get a little bit bigger. Okay, this is really bad. What am I even getting hit by? What? That? I think it was so big its hitbox grew so big that it killed these guys too or something. It was so immensely large that the game couldn't even render the actual size of the eye, and instead just ended up with a blacked out silhouette. Needless to say, growing is an instant loss. The night now over, I head into the nightmarish hellscape known more commonly as the underground jungle in search for thorns, vines, and jungle spores to make the snapthorn. The jungle gets me up to full hearts, provides me with a boomstick, and kills me with seemingly nothing. It takes 3 attempts to get my stuff back, as traversing the jungle itemless is terrifying, but after a while I get everything I need and craft the snapthorn. And thank goodness, because that night, it happens. A blood moon. I am screwed. In less than a minute, a massive horde of zombies has already invaded my home, forcing me to build a safety box on the side of my house to survive. Their numbers continue to climb until an explosive goes off, sending the world into utter madness. 350 zombies dead, and the pain has just begun. I die another 9 times during the aptly named Blood Moon, sometimes with all of my stuff, but mostly without. Finally, the sun rises, ending the chaos, letting me secure my now scattered around items in peace. I sleep through most of the day, and before I can do it myself, I feel an evil presence watching me. The time ticks down to the eye's arrival, and... No. Please. You've gotta be kidding me. The Eye of Cthulhu awakens and is perfectly crafted for me to succeed. Black Hole and Shrinking is one of the best combinations for a boss. It quickly shrinks down to its minimum size, making it almost impossible for it to hit me. While thanks to the Black Hole, it's almost impossible for me not to hit it. The zombie problem is also quickly solved by shepherding them into a large group that's easy to avoid. The servants, however, do pose a bit of a threat, as I have no accurate way of hitting them. Thankfully, I'm able to kill most of them when they spawn, since my whip covers all of the area between me and the eye, who soon enters the second phase and in no time at all is defeated. Boom. Easy. I equip the glorious Shield of Cthulhu and for the second time place what I'm pretty certain will be my very last relic. Yet into the Crimson I go. I make my way to the Crimson, break a heart, and instantly get overrun by blood crawlers. I can already tell that working in the Crimson is going to be a lot of running away, then running back, then running away again. I block off all the side passages and start adding in platforms. The area I'm working with isn't very big, but determined to at least give the brain a shot, I finish the arena and summon a growing, splitting Brain of Cthulhu. The literal worst 2 modifiers possible. Unfortunately, I never get to see them in action as the insanity provided by the creepers is more than enough to do me in. I have no idea how I could possibly win a fight like that. I die to a zombie on the way to fetch my things, so sleep through the rest of the night. Which doesn't really seem to help much as I die to some vultures and I'm forced underground in the Crimson. I barely make it to safety just to make it unsafe again in the pursuit of vertebrae. It, for obvious reasons, doesn't take long before I have more than enough vertebrae for the time being, letting me craft a bloody spine and summon a Weber phasing Brain of Cthulhu. An actually decent combo if the creepers didn't start multiplying. Okay, but that was not my fault. What? What's happening down there? So, yeah. I'm never gonna beat this. Despite knowing the unfortunate truth, I decide to give the brain one final shot before moving on. Okay, well, we lost. We lost. Yup. I'm laughing like it was funny, but believe me when I say my mind was far gone by this point. A fact only made worse when the goblins begin their invasion. Oh boy, that is the goblin army. Okay. I at least have some better equipment this time. See what I mean? I haven't fought the goblins yet. What am I talking about? The projectiles are bigger? What? Wait, have I not done the... I don't think I've done the goblin army yet, have I? I inevitably get killed, turning the battle into an item rescue mission, which I completely fail. I do eventually manage to grab all my items and barricade myself in the house, but clearly nowhere is safe. Well, other than the 3rd floor for some reason. The only enemies by this point are goblin warriors, and their population shows no signs of shrinkage. Their numbers are so numerous, in fact, that there are enough black hole guys around to completely break the laws and realities of space-time, splitting my whip in 2. This is very much not good, as even after several hundreds of warriors die in an explosion, alongside me of course, they still manage to grow at an unreasonable rate. The cycle of hoping it's over, then fearing its growth continues until I'm forced to take drastic action. Okay, I've been avoiding this, but if this keeps happening, we haven't finished this in the next 5 minutes, I'm just gonna leave the world so everything despawns. I've been holding off, but I have a limit to how long I can wait here and see things only get worse. The time speeds by, and 5 minutes later, everything is still just as terrible, so I have no choice but to leave the world. Now do you understand the true power of splitting enemies? Because for me, this was the exact moment I realized I am far more screwed than I ever thought. And it's all just downhill from here. With the brain out of the equation, I move on to the Queen Bee, since if I manage to defeat her, I can not only get a better summon weapon, but a better summoner armor set as well. So I get right to mining an arena in the underground jungle. It goes horribly, so here are just a few key moments from the process. 1, I get sniped by a single stinger that does 322 damage. 2, death is unavoidable, so I house flip a nearby cabin to be my new spawn point, which has absolutely no major repercussions down the line whatsoever. 3, a blood moon rises, and wanting a money trough, I teleport to base camp. And to sum that up, okay, things have gone to crap. It takes me well into the day to fully recover, but I do get 2 money troughs out of it, so yay, I guess? 4, yes, I am still doing bullet points. 5, I find the Goblin Tinker, so make myself a nice pair of Spectre boots. And 6, I finish off the arena with background walls to keep monsters from spawning, then summon a Weber and small Queen Bee. Small is absolutely fantastic, but I still to this day have no idea what Weber means, so I guess it's not that bad. Yet despite the 2 decent modifiers, I am still getting destroyed by the regular bees. Why do all of the early bosses have to have so many minions? I die with the Queen Bee at 4,000 health. Queen Bee attempt 2 is against a grower, so... Yet somehow, attempt 3 is even worse, which I absolutely did not think was possible until... Okay. Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna win this one, just a hunch. Can't place my finger on why, but yeah, I have a feeling this is not the attempt. The fourth queen bee is shrinking, but there's simply no way to survive the regular bees. One of them gives me cursed for like 15 seconds, meaning no weapons, grappling hook, or healing potions. Needless to say, I don't make it. My fifth try at the queen goes about the same. It's just all around misery. Then begins the Great Hornet fiasco of 24. I know I talk a lot about splitting enemies getting out of hand, but this was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Everything starts off pretty normal. Oh no, a lot of hornets, no big deal, I'm in my little box. Never mind, they're in my little box too. Overall, pretty standard stuff. I respawn in the cabin where I'm safe for a little while, but as is the natural order of things, I get one shot by a stinger. Again, and again, and again. Until I eventually managed to set up a barrier between me and the brute terrorizing me. We have another problem. We have another couple problems, actually. I grab a few blocks from the wall to build another barrier, die, grab a few more, and die again. And while I didn't realize it at the time, I had just made my house invalid by breaking those blocks in the wall, forcing me to respawn on the surface. And oh boy, wait, this could actually be a very good thing. Why did I have to say that? On my way to retrieve my lost items, I get mauled by a school of piranhas. And it's around at this point I won't be able to show many more of my live reactions because they get a little bit too unmonetizable, if you know what I mean. I'm able to make it to the arena on my next try, but mere blocks away from safety and my items, a gosh dang slime does me in. Third time's the charm, I guess, as I finally get all of my stuff back. For a second, until a hornet decides it doesn't want to follow the laws of physics and just goes through some blocks to kill me. I again get my items back, then I'm again killed seconds later, so close to restoring my cabin spawn point. It really feels like the game is sending everything it's got at this point. It's like beating a dead horse, except I'm the horse and I'm getting hit by hundreds of 16-wheelers carrying heavy explosives. That's how it felt, at least. After a full 15 minutes of trying to get back to full working order, I finally managed to grab my stuff and reset my spawn point. And what are we gonna do now? Well, we're going to die again to the queen bee. I summon her, and for the first time, I'm actually making genuine progress. I don't know what changed, especially because the queen is large, but I was doing it way better than I ever had. It's no easy fight, however, so it becomes a race to take out the queen before she can do the same to me. There's only going to be one victor here, and it is Her Majesty the Queen. Even my best attempt wasn't even close to taking her out. My armor was too weak, the bees too deadly, my skill not enough. I retrieve my items and make one fateful decision that would bring this entire challenge crumbling down. I swing my whip and pull the trigger against a seemingly inconsequential group of mother slimes. Immediately they start multiplying until I can't fight them all off and die. I respawn and decide to just let Abigail deal with them. The usual set of explosives go off, yet my pain is far from over. See, the extra dangerous part about mother slimes is they already have a 100% chance of splitting into two more slimes when they die, tripling the odds that at least one of them will have the splitting attribute, causing an uncountable amount of slimes to quickly fill the area. One makes its way into my cabin and duplicates there, and this is when I make my second run-ending decision. But this time, I'm not gonna mine, I'm not gonna ruin this house so that I spawn at my base camp. I just need to keep slowly fighting. I'm gonna die a crap ton, but it's fine. It's whatever. My mind was filled with the trauma of trying to get my items back after the Hornet fiasco, so I decided I was going to stick it out no matter what. I of course experienced many more deaths until I'm able to at least clear out my cabin. And as the slimes continue to thrive below, I at last realized the great error of my ways. Okay, I'm kind of worried that my items are a lost cause at this point. In Terraria, if 300 items are dropped onto the floor after said item, it'll despawn. So I feared that all of my items had long since despawned. The fight continues and I do get a slime staff. Slime staff, that's pretty cool. He says, completely devoid of life and emotion. The chaos slowly starts to cool down, so I venture beyond my walls, praying that my worst fears were nothing but speculation. I enter the arena and nothing. There was not so much as one of my items left. All of my armor, all of my weapons, everything I worked so hard for was gone. And so ends the series of unfortunate events that was the life of the Doomed One. A once funny name, now more fitting than I ever knew it would become. So what did I learn from this dumpster fire of a challenge? What final message do I have to give after experiencing such a devastating fate? Well, I think I would say that no matter who you are, where you are in life, or what you believe in, you should absolutely hit that subscribe button. I know this video was a complete disaster, but I normally make actually decent videos, and your support would mean the world to me. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching my pain as much as I suffered through it. Have a fantastic day, and see ya!